Hey there, it's Olivia-Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe, and I'm here to read the oldest books on my TBR, and there's no better way to know what of the oldest books on my TBR I need to read in 2023 than to make a video about them. So I did this last year and I managed to read 9 of them. 9 out of 10, I think that's jolly good, and I see it as a success because I've actually read some of the books I've had for the longest. And so I'm going to show you the 10 plus the one that I didn't finish last year, and those are going to be my unofficial, official 2023 TBR, because it would be good to read some of the books I've had for the longest. So let's see what these TBR vets are. So the first one that I have here is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. So I read The Final Empire over a year ago now, and I had a very good time with it, and I thought it was such a good start to the series. Did I make the effort to go and read the sequel? No, I did not. So the sequel is still one that I need to read. I tend to enjoy series and I just don't do a very good job of continuing on with them. I'm very much a standalone girl, so some of these are going to be sequels. And yeah, I'm actually excited to get to this. I think it's going to be a good time, and I did read The Final Empire surprisingly quickly, so I think this is going to fall into a similar boat. The Traveling Cat Chronicle by Hiro Arikawa. This was gifted to me when I left home and left my church by a lovely old lady, and she is so nice. And actually I started this book once for a readathon, so I can see that I got 37 pages in, and I actually really enjoyed those first 37 pages, but I got distracted, and since then I haven't got back to it, but I really need to, and it's actually not that long, so I think this is going to be one that I can absolutely whiz through, and I know it's going to be one I enjoy because I really liked those first 37 pages, so it's just a matter of sitting down and actually reading it. But it does sound like it's going to be very, very good, and it's very, very sweet and heartwarming. Then we have The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. I picked this one up secondhand somewhere, and it doesn't actually sound like something I would read now, and I think that's why it's been on my TBR for so long, because it's absolutely not the kind of book that I would read. And if I am going to be reading something that's a bit mystery thriller-ish, it's not going to be one that's this chunky. I do have a friend who absolutely loved this series and raced through it, so I'm going to give this one a fair shot. It's secondhand, the sticker won't come off, so it's not the nicest edition. So if I don't like it, I don't have any qualms with just letting it go. But I'm going to give it a chance. I do want to give it a go. It's such a popular series. We have Clean by Juno Dawson. So I got this one at an event when I met her for the first time in my first year of university, and I loved her talk. I thought she sounded great, so I just thought, yes, I'm going to get this book. And since then I've read a Juno Dawson book and really, really enjoyed it, so I know I'm going to have a good time with Clean probably. I just need to get to it and actually pick it up. I just can't believe it's sat on my TBR for that long, and also it's young adult, so again, I don't think this is going to take me too long to read. I just need to prioritize it and get reading. This technically counts as one book for this TBR, but it's split into 2 here in the UK, and that is A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin, and it is the 3rd book in the Game of Thrones series, A Song of Ice and Fire universe. And I read A Clash of Kings finally last year as part of my oldest TBR, so of course the sequels are the next oldest books that I own. And yeah, it's a really, really long book. It's over 1,000 pages if it's in one edition, which is why it's split into 2 over 500 pages books. And as you can see there at the top, I've got a bookmark in. I've already read 100 pages of this in 2022. I've got a head start. I thought, I'm just going to continue on with this series. I've got to do it. So I do think this is going to take my sweet time throughout the year, but I'm very much looking forward to it because I think this is going to be the deciding factor about whether or not I truly enjoy this series and whether or not I want to continue reading it. So everything rests on, admittedly, this one. If I don't love this one, I'm not going to continue and read the second part. So admittedly, this is the tiebreaker for whether or not I actually am a Game of Thrones book fan, or if I should just mind my own business and watch the rest of the TV series. We have Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I never really gravitate to Charles Dickens. He is an author who takes his time with his books. He's very slow, long-winded, and it goes on forever, but I often like them. So I don't know why I'm hesitating to pick them up. So the next one, the oldest one I've had, is Great Expectations, and I actually just was so surprised that I found a bookmark in this, and then I remembered that I actually did start this once upon a time. and I read a good 80 pages. So I am actually 80 pages into Great Expectations, and I'm gonna just pick up from there again because that is what I do. Even though it must have been years ago, I'm looking forward to finally reading Great Expectations. I think my sister really liked this one, and now I'm remembering what I've read. I know I've met some very iconic characters that people talk about and refer to, so looking forward to seeing what I make of this at long last. So we have 2 Dostoevsky books. I think I talked about how when I was younger last year, I just decided I would love Dostoevsky even though I hadn't read any, so I just picked up a lot of his books, and so there come some of the oldest books on my TBR. So I've actually started reading this one, which is his comedy, and it's quite funny, as well as having a lot of commentary on society and also the treatment of women and classism and money. And I've read 172 pages, almost 200 pages, and the font is tiny, and it's a long book, so it's actually quite a good chunk. I am loving it, so I'm looking forward to continuing and finishing the book. And then as well as that, I've got Devils, which I know absolutely nothing about, but seeing as I've loved the 2 Dostoevsky books I've read, I think it's fair to say I'm probably going to enjoy this to some extent, and it's even longer than the one I'm currently reading now. So that's intimidating because they're both on my list for next year. I'm actually surprised that there's not as much non-fiction on my oldest on my TBR, so it seems like I don't leave non-fiction till I don't procrastinate reading my non-fiction books, but one of them is Desert Flower by Waris Dirie, and it's been on my TBR for a very long time because I know that when I bought this, it was in my first year of uni. You know when you're in your first year of uni and you get control of your money in a large quantity for the first time, like your student loan comes in for the first time, and you're just like, wow, look at all that money I can spend on books rather than on food and bills and stuff like that. Yeah, I did that. So I bought this from Book Depository just because it was about £3 to £4 at the time, and I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't even keen on non-fiction back then. And actually this one sounds like it's got very intense subject matter, and I'll put that in the content description box down below rather than say it on the video. And I'm gonna read it. I have thought about whether or not to read this one for a very long time, but I think I'm gonna give it a go. We have Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman. This is from my steampunk western era, when that was what I really loved to read, and admittedly I still really love to read those 2 things. I just find less and less books that are kind of published about it that are mainstream, and I need to dig deeper into kind of self-published indie good quality stuff to find it. But mostly I kind of fulfill my I love space western steampunk books by reading fanfic. And this is not space but specific, but this is definitely Western steampunk. The cover looks great, deckled edges, which I actually really like, and I've heard good things about it. I just need to pick it up and prioritize it. I think because I don't hear about it very often, it doesn't get pushed to the front of my excitement level. And then last but not least, we have a book that's not in the English language. We have the Dutch edition of Twilight. So Twilight by Stephenie Meyer in Dutch. I know why this is one of the oldest in my TBR. It's because it's in Dutch, and I really struggle with reading in Dutch, not as in I find it difficult to do, but in that I read 3 times slower than I read in the English language. English, my first language, I'm fluent. I studied English Lit, which means I had to read a lot, so I'm very fast when I read in English, and in Dutch I am just so slow, and I find that so very difficult. So yes, I have started this behemoth of a book. I got 50 pages in, so not even that far, but it's a good way for me to reread the book because I love the book. Be aware that there is lots of racism in this book, and it's not actually good in terms of actual like politics around it and depictions and representations. And I'll leave a link where you can donate to the actual Quality Tribe down below. But yeah, I do think I haven't reread Twilight in a while in its entirety because I reread scenes every now and again. But I think it'd be a fun way to reread the book. It's also got Life and Death, but it's not my physical TBR because I want to read it in English first, and then I will reread it in Dutch. And there you have it. Those are the oldest books on my TBR that I'm planning to read throughout 2023, slowly and steadily, because some of these are classics, non-fiction, and big chunky fantasy. And so I hope you have fun joining me on this journey. Do subscribe if you want to hear my thoughts on any of these. And please let me know in the comment section down below what is one of the books that you think has been waiting for you to read on your shelf for the longest. Let me know. We all have one like that. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!